battle for Bihar intensifies. One phase down, one to go. Mahagathbandhan confident of victory.
हम लोग जीतेंगे, सब लोग जीतेंगे, बिहार जीतेगा। 14 को नई सरकार मिलने वाली है।
NDA fights with Modi firepower.
ये जंगल राज ने बिहार को तबाह कर दिया।
Women voters lead the charge.
मैं विकास के मुद्दे पर वोट दी हूँ और आगे अच्छा हो, इन फ्यूचर भी अच्छा, प्लानिंग भी अच्छा हो, जो भी हो अच्छा हो।
RJD counts on anti-incumbency. BJP banks on brand Modi. Who has the edge ahead of round 2? Preeti Choudhry live from Patna.
Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. It is curtains down on the first phase of polling. The fate of 121 seats has been sealed. 3 crores 34 lakh voters have cast their ballot. They were on the voters' roll, and now we'll only know the fate of these 121 seats come the 14th of this month, when that last vote is counted. On the other hand, the fate of Tejaswi Yadav, the face of the Mahagathbandhan, also sealed today. From the seat of Raghopur, you have 2 deputy chief ministers. They were also in the fray, and 13 sitting cabinet ministers where the government of Bihar is concerned. Well, now the focus shifts to the second phase of elections of 122 seats. But viewers, the biggest talking point right now, which has left many people wondering on what this election really means. For the likes of us who were on the ground, most of us picked up one refrain, that this was a silent election. But the voters have spoken so loudly when it comes down to the ballot, because the kind of voting that has been recorded in Bihar has been unprecedented in the first phase. And that brings me to our first set of news break this evening. All right, so the news that we are breaking right now is that Bihar has seen the highest voter turnout in the last 20 years. I'm going to take you through. In 2010, where the first phase of elections was concerned, the voter turnout was 52.1%, 2015, 55.9%, 2020, 56.1%, and 2025, it is 60.1% till now. This, of course, is phase 1. What I've given you for other years has been the cumulative voting turnout in 2010, 2015 and 22. So first phase has surpassed the cumulative voting percentage of 2010, 2015 and 2020. And the 60.1% that has been recorded till 5 p.m. viewers right now, in all probability, will be bumped up with a couple of more, notches, as there will be people in the voting line. And we've seen in the recent past that the whole aggregate does go up by a couple of percentage after it's been calculated. So this is unprecedented. What most of us thought was a silent election and was a silent election has spoken very loudly at the hustings at the box office. So the voters who we thought were not that enthused, there was no wave, clearly were enthused, because they've gone out in large numbers and they have voted despite of the fact that there has been a reduction on 40 to 45 lakh votes after the SIR. So the electorate right now stands of entire Bihar at 7 crore 42 lakhs. It was about 45 lakhs more recorded in the Lok Sabha in January. So despite of the voter numbers coming down, what could be the reason for this massive turnout? That remains to be dissected. Many pollsters right now are silent. What they are looking at very closely and waiting for is the deduction in terms of how much the women have voted, and that could give a larger picture on which way or what is the trend. The scales are tipping in whose favor right now. So there's a, and that would be micro data in terms of how much the women have voted. But till now, we've been getting in data of constituencies, of areas, of districts, of region, and what's really interesting is, viewers, while Begusarai has recorded bumper voting, something like a Darbhanga has not recorded such a sharp uptick in the voter percentage. They've, every constituency, every region has voted very differently, and there are multiple layers to this election. I would think for any political journalist, political analyst would agree that this has been one of the most complex elections in terms of the caste dynamics, in terms of the factors, in terms of new players, in terms of changing alliances, in terms of the woman, youth vote. There's so much to it that, one can speak of. I want to cut across to our two reporters who've been on ground, spent maximum time in Bihar. Joining me is our Bihar Bureau Chief, Rohit Singh, who knows a thing or two more than most of us who've been reporting on this election. Moshmi, who's traveled the length and the breadth of Bihar, first on SIR and now where voting in Bihar is concerned for the first phase. Rohit, I come to you first. What would you rather deduce on the numbers that have been recorded, Rohit? Bumper voting in Bihar. What most of us thought, election silent hai, koi wave nahi hai. Clearly, it has enthused voters to go out and cast their ballot despite of a reduction in votes by 40 to 45 lakhs post the SIR. What do you make of it?
Well, Preeti, there are two aspects to it. The one is that if the voting percentage has increased and if the male voters, that their percentage is more than the female voters, then there could be an indication that the voting has taken place for a change. But as far as the other side is concerned, the other aspect is concerned, if the female voting percentage is higher, I'm talking about Bihar specifically, than the male, then it gives you a completely different picture as far as Bihar is concerned in the last 20 years. And why? Because women in Bihar have turned out to be a core vote bank of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar specifically, if not BJP, because of the developmental works, a lot of schemes that have been launched by Nitish Kumar in the last 20 years, and the most recent, the disbursement of 10,000 rupees cash transfer into the bank account of almost 1.5 crore women just ahead of elections. All these things, if you keep in mind, then obviously one has to say that the number of women who were standing in long queues today since morning, if it is any indication, then it could, I am saying, mean that it could be good news for the NDA, because women voting out
fair
and
point.
Coming out and voting
Rohit,
in large
fair
numbers.
Point. I want to bring in Moshmi, but let me
benefit.
ask you this question first. We are talking about the women vote, but certain constituencies, Rohit, Begussarai has seen a sharp uptick where the voter turnout is going to touch practically 70%. But regions, districts like Darbhanga hasn't seen that kind of enthused voting. So have women come out sharply in certain regions and not come out in certain regions? Of course, one has to wait for the data. But what do you make for certain constituencies coming out in large numbers and others not as much as the rest?
Well, you nailed it correctly. We have to wait for the data. How much women, what is the women percentage that has they have voted today? But there are certain pockets where BJP or the NDA has done well, and there are certain pockets where Mahagathbandhan has done well. For example, Kosi and Mithilanchal, these are the two areas where
Rohit, stay with
we have
me.
been talking to a lot of our reporters also.
Make your point, Rohit. What are you saying? So, Mithilanchal and Kosi, what?
We have been talking to our district correspondents also, and the sense that we have got is that there are certain pockets like Mithilanchal, Kosi, Shahabad especially. Shahabad was one region, Ara, Buxar, where the NDA performed very badly, extremely badly in the 2020 elections. But in these elections also we are hearing that it could there could be some good news for the NDA in Shahabad region also. Then there are certain pockets like Saran district and other adjoining districts where Mahagathbandhan has also done well. So it's a mixed, we can say, bag for
stay with me, Rohit, stay with me. I just want to take our viewers, because we are focusing on the woman vote. I want to quickly take our viewers through data points. Now, what we have is data to go by. Let's go all the way to 2010, viewers. The male voter turnout stood at 51%, female at 54%. 2015 male voter turnout 57%, female voter turnout 60%. 2020 male voter turnout 54%, female voter turnout 60%. There is also, in this a fine print to it, a subtext to it, which is that especially in the rural area, about 7 to 8% of young male population is migrant, where 65% of the households in rural Bihar are dependent on the salaries bought in by them, so they are mostly missing during elections. Therefore, you see a sharp rise in women voters. But the woman vote clearly is the core constituency nurtured for decades by Nitish Kumar. But Moshmi, how are you reading this sharp uptick and increase in voter turnout? What does this mean?
See, Preeti, according to the data that you actually just doled out in 2020, we've seen that the seats that the Mahagathbandhan has won, a large chunk of the male voters have voted, and the winnability has been, it has resulted in the winnability of the Mahagathbandhan. And what I can tell you that, the easiest way to chicken out of the question that you're asking is to say it's a close fight. Close fights everywhere. But we as journalists and political journalists, as observers, we can say what we've seen unfolding through the day. And I see even if Rohit is also hinting that Saran and this entire area, perhaps the Mahagathbandhan could be at an edge. I have seen that through the day. I haven't seen those long queues. I spoke to Shashi also in the day, and he was saying that, here in Mukama, Siwan, in other regions, in fact, there was a lot of, swelling up of women voters. Even Siwan, though is neighboring, but in Chhapra I saw that the length of the queue of the male voters was much longer. Women voters were there, and there were a lot of silent voters. The Yadav voters are very vocal. If you talk to them, they'll say, Lalu Yadav ke bete ki sarkar aa rahi hai. And they will talk about, we've got edge here, we've got edge there.
Right.
But those voters which are floating voters, they are silent. Yet again, the BJP voters are vocal.
Okay.
But JDU voters are silent. Youth voters are vocal. That's what I observed through the day.
Okay. All right. I appreciate both of you for joining me. Thank you there. I want to just quickly, before, we wrap up the show this evening, want to take you through on who are the key candidates in the poll fray. And number one is a hot seat, the seat of Raghopur. It's not going to be easy this time for Tejaswi Yadav, who is the face of the Mahagathbandhan as well as the chief ministerial candidate. So he is one of the key candidates. His constituency is Raghopur, viewers. The second, the deputy chief minister, also in a very close, tough fight. And that is Samrat Chaudhary, who's a sitting MLC fighting an election after 15 years from a constituency he doesn't quite know, but his family has a stronghold there. So Samrat Chaudhary from Tarapur right now is another key candidate. Tej Pratap Yadav, the estranged brother of Tejaswi, estranged son right now of Lalu Prasad, who's floated his own political outfit, is contesting from the seat of Mahua. Once again, not an easy contest. Vijay Kumar Sinha, party BJP deputy chief minister. Like I told you, 2 deputy CMs in the fray. Constituency, of course, Lakhisarai, and a fair amount of theatrics and drama took place there today. Ultimately, Chhapra, our last seat, Keshari Lal Yadav from the RJD constituency Chhapra. He's a Bhojpuri star, and this is a seat in which, of course, the RJD would want to wrest back from the BJP, because this is where Lalu Prasad began his career, his Karam Bhumi. We're going to leave it at that. Lots more other candidates, but that's for later. Completely run out of time. We thank all our reporters, our editors on ground.